Moon Chronicles is a remake of the original Moon game for the Nintendo DS made by Renegade Kid. Moon Chronicles has upgraded graphics, better controls for the 3DS, and is all brought through the Nintendo eShop. It explores a mysterious adventure upon the moon and finding the secrets that lie underneath it. What's interesting about this game is the fact that it is a first-person shooter on the Nintendo 3DS, something that's just really not looked upon that much. It's abnormal, or an interesting category to see on this console because we rarely see it, and even that goes for the original game that was on the Nintendo DS. Now, this remake is brought over to the Nintendo eShop in an episodic title, so you can buy the first episode for $8.99 and the remaining 2, 3, and 4 episodes for $1.99 each after. Gameplay wise, the new Moon Chronicles on 3DS is for the most part pretty much identical to Moon on the DS. You play as Major Kane in this mission to find the secrets of the moon, and along the way, things start to go a little bit wrong, and you start to find out more information that leads you to believe that just something isn't right here. It leads to an engaging story that, while you slowly discover new bits of information, keep you wanting to find out what really is happening here. And interesting enough, this actually works with the episodic system rather than an actual full game that was on the original DS. Now let's talk about some of the differences between the 3DS game and the DS game. And the major difference is the graphical upgrade. This is a remake from a DS game to a newer console, the 3DS, so of course it looks better, textures are way nicer, so is the polygon count, so just things look smoother, and you can definitely notice the graphical upgrade when you're comparing screenshots between the DS and the 3DS game. With that said, the game's textures look very grainy, and just for my taste, they don't look that amazing. This is an indie budget game, of course, so I don't expect the prettiest looking game, but I think things could have been a little bit better. All the rooms look very much alike, so it's easy to get lost when you're not paying attention to your map. Other than that, the graphic upgrade is pretty great. I just wish textures would have looked nicer, and maybe something to differentiate all the rooms, because most of them look very alike. Now on to controls. There are multiple ways to control the game at this point. You can use a circle pad and then the face buttons to control movement and your head movement, which isn't my favorite because you can't really adjust the sensitivity of your head movement, so it kind of just feels weird. You're either walking too slow or you move your head too slow when you're only using the circle pad. But you also have the option to use the touchscreen to move your head, very much like Kid Icarus Uprising. This is my preferred method. This just allows me to aim much quicker and more precisely, and I'm already used to it as I've been playing Kid Icarus Uprising before. I'll admit it takes a little bit of getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, it's pretty good. Aside from that, you also have the option to use the Circle Pad Pro, which allows you to move your head and just walk around much more smoothly, and it just feels natural. However, personally for me, I prefer the touchscreen because it just allowed me to be more precise and it allowed me to aim much more quickly. As far as enemies go, you'll be fighting a ton of flying orbs that only are differentiated by their color scheme. Depending on which color they have, some of them are more powerful than others. You'll also fight many mechanical looking spiders, and there are boss battles that keep the gameplay very interesting and just change up the gameplay scheme, but they're not too difficult, so I've never felt overwhelmed when playing this game. I felt it was pretty easy overall, that is on the normal difficulty setting. Gameplay is split between 3 different modes when you're playing as Major Kane in the first person shooter mode. Then you can also solve puzzles with a smaller drone that lets you access little parts of rooms that are too small for your character to access. Then there's the Moon Buggy missions, which is pretty much just one mission, and a very short one at that, where you get to drive the Moon Buggy Lola, which is pretty much one of my favorite parts of this first episode. Controlling the Moon Buggy on the 3DS just feels completely natural, and I loved it. Sadly, the time you get with her in the first episode isn't that much, but I did hear from the developer themselves that the game will be getting more Lola time in future episodes, so thumbs up for that. Moon Chronicles is a pretty good game. It definitely shows that one can definitely make and play a first-person shooter on the Nintendo 3DS. Heck, Renegade Kid even did that with Moon on the DS. With that said, the title definitely has room for improvement. While there is a graphical upgrade, it's not that amazing for a 3DS title. The textures still definitely have room for improvement, and the cutscenes look like they've been straight imported from the DS themselves. The controls take some getting used to, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be playing just fine. Personally, I support the touchscreen option, it just feels the best to me, and if you're already playing Kid Icarus Uprising, you should get the hang of it very quickly. One thing I would have loved to see in Moon Chronicles that wasn't in the original is a multiplayer mode. Although it's not really that much canon with the story, I think just the option to have a multiplayer mode would have had a great benefit to the system. For one, the 3DS is better with online infrastructure, and it's just better suited to play games online than it was on the DS. One of the most common and popular reasons that people get first-person shooters nowadays are for the great online multiplayer modes, and I was just surprised to see that Moon Chronicles didn't get that option even though it wasn't in the original game. We have the online infrastructure that's better on the 3DS than it was on the DS, and I think it just would have benefited Moon Chronicles overall as a game. Hopefully we'll see it in some sort of DLC or update to the game later, but it's just one of my wishes that I hope to see later if this game does get an update for it. For all these reasons and more, I give Moon Chronicles Episode 1 for the Nintendo 3DS a 7 out of 10. You can pick up the game on May 15th for $8.99, and Episode 2, 3, and 4 will be coming out at later dates for $1.99 each. As always gamers, thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.